My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. All right, I'm just going to going out of its way to do, especially since I published video yesterday reminding you about them stalking me at Vesta. This is the entity that's flying along Vesta where I'm at now. Gang stalking. That's the city of Ontario. That's maintaining flights as though they're taking off over the Ontario Town Square. This is the people at 517 West Vesta Street. This is the fake sun that's over me. The entity's engaging in this with the in the middle of the afternoon. I've documented Vesta for years. This whole street that's monitoring, just like they were the other night, where the mentally ill or molesting with light, that's what they're doing under a fake sun. stalking with the impossible light. They're engaged in surveillance where they live. They're exposed to being raided at any and all places at all times, and on the roads and the highways. 8ZMM765 is stalking under the fake sun at what is 8:33 a.m. And then the entity is deviating to be over the Stater Brothers parking lot as I'm inside of that village. And then the entities do it. This is the stalking by the airport that's being shut down. That's stalking me while I'm on Euclid Avenue at the bus stop. Okay, that's the P.O.C. That's the mentally ill. This is what is D. Rodriguez is going to prison. Okay, he's stalking with the airport's stalking with the police. The police are stalking with the people in furtherance of murder. This is state surveillance. It's P.O.C. and it's highly unintelligent. And it's easily able to be identified and tracked through documentation, which I've maintained for years. P.O.C. Alrighty, this is the maintenance of flight at the fake sun that they're flying through. Very demonic, cooperative, demonic pacing, and doing so over the Stater Brothers parking lot. Those are demons that are pacing together on the ground while demons are blatantly stalking. That's Southwest Airlines, the terrorist Southwest Airlines. And they're flying over here where the fake sun follows at the Ontario Village Shopping Center. Ontario Village Shopping Center gang stalking me. Remember when I'm here and Amazon Prime, the city of Ontario, the airport, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, this fake sun is over me. Let me show you where I'm at. And historically, the entity engaging in gang stalking at this village, fake sun rise and set. She's monitoring. Let's get her license plate. She's a demon and she's pacing on the ground. They're acting in sync in the sky space and on the ground. 7SHS443 is a demon going into a facilitating venue. They're all monitoring as well. P.O.C. And the entity has this fake sun over me in this same parking lot. This is Stater Brothers. This is the habit. A very long history of documenting targeting and doing so while the entity's keeping the fake sun well into the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Remember, the entity is engaging in this P.O.C. while I'm coming out of Stater Brothers. The entity is stalking while I'm on Vesta. That was in this direction where they're hovering over me on Vesta Street, deviating, going what would be north to engage in what is hovering over the parking lot as I'm in the parking lot. Okay, when you're driving, engineered light is across the asphalt. That's not headlights and it's not sunlight. This isn't even the sun. And this is not the Ontario Town Square where the entity's keeping the fake sun and that airport is hovering over the Ontario Town Square. This is P.O.C. This is the unintelligent and clearly identifiable means of stalking, in addition to science, which is putting the terrorists of Southwest Airlines, U.S., American Airlines, Delta Airlines. These demons are going to prison. And so are the people of the state. They engage in criminal summoning. They're getting locked up. They're going to prison. P.O.C. It's currently 9:12 a.m. Alright, this is 533 West Holt Boulevard. American Stereo Master. And that's the entity that is stalking. This is P.O.C. This is the ongoing pattern of conduct while OMNITRANS is crossing path with impossible light 1613645, bus 1266, sharing in terrorism, and the sun's not remaining in the window. And OMNITRANS is specifically targeting in concert with the demon that uses a helicopter, whether that's a news station or whether it's the city of Ontario using its helicopters. It's the P.O.C. The state of California is engaged in terrorism and is going to be prosecuted for that. Okay? OMNITRANS is not coincidentally, it is intentionally while monitoring, and I'm en route to the bus stop, and they're engaged in gang stalking like they have been for years. Guess what? The bus drivers that I documented terrorizing with the Ontario police, guess where they're going? This impunity, they're going to prison. They're going to federal prison. So while they're having a field day targeting, driving these buses and molesting me with impossible light and the documented years of harassment and having a field day while the city of Ontario, the city of Fontana, the entity engages in criminal summoning as they arrive to pick me up, and as I get off the bus and as I'm riding on the bus, the entity is maintaining surveillance. This is P.O.C. of a demon that's stalking. They're going to federal prison, okay? That's the pattern of conduct. They're going to federal prison while they're engaging in what you just saw. No exception. The OMNITRANS bus drivers are going to federal prison as well. They're engaging in the same terrorism, the same criminal threat to your life. And that's what's relevant when I'm capturing this evidence, There was impossible light activity on the ground, which is not going to occur when you're driving under the sun, including as a bus driver. The entities engage in this as a communication of an unlawful threat by the demons that are stalking by helicopter under the fake sun that is on this street. I've documented for years. I will attach relevant video evidence speaking to the entity that is specifically targeting as the entity keeps the fake sun. And by the way, it's 9:40 a.m. The entity is keeping the fake sun over me while I'm in Montclair, California, where this demon that's honking is creating activity as though they're in a rush to get their stalking. And that's the mentally ill. Every single last business is engaged in the pattern of conduct, and I've been documenting them gang stalking with the city of Ontario. And they are while the entity is stalking by helicopter as well. And this is also, as you can see, not simultaneously remaining in this direction over the Stater Brothers, where it's over me at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, where the entity is engaged in what is stalking by the Ontario International Airport. Okay, this is the entity that's engaged in that targeting together. Mike LORENZ is going to federal prison, and so is D. Rodriguez. Okay, so is J. Chu and Rodriguez that engaged in criminal summoning at the Starbucks at 111 North Vineyard Avenue. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct in every area of that P.O.C. remains ceaselessly underway. All right, it is currently 9:41 a.m. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, I just want to show you again more evidence for the agency that's being disbanded. They are stalking as an agency where the fake sun is over me. This is Empire Place, where the entity has the fake sun as a matter of history. I've been documenting it in the middle of the afternoon in this same position. And this agency is flying over me again after being at the Stereo City, following down the street in gang stalking, targeting with OMNITRANS. And there's a history of OMNITRANS targeting me with the city of Ontario. Doing so while the entity is stalking in the path that impossible light. License 05919R3, I believe. Substantially similar. They're all engaged in the same conduct. That's the agency that is the criminal pattern of conduct that's putting LORENZ away. LORENZ is highly unstable. LORENZ is a mentally ill domestic terrorist, and so is every one of the Ontario police. And the latest terrorist that you saw is D. Rodriguez, who engaged in a battery. He's going to federal prison. This is the pattern of conduct he was engaging in, and he's doing so in concert with the people of the state who are stalking. This is P.O.C. 6A KD 807, 9PXC 026, and they're all going to be subject to deportation. Every business is going to be subject to a criminal and civil prosecution. They're all conspiring murder together while they're targeting with the terrorist organization. License plate 7KYU 305. This is stalking in the path, okay? This heavy-set demon is engaged in targeting me. She's doing so on behalf of the state under the fake sun is what supersedes. Getting onto the gang stalking venue of OMNITRANS, as you know, is not any sort of alibi. OMNITRANS is gang stalking as well. This is the P.O.C. OMNITRANS employees are going to prison, as I've documented them targeting me for years. They're gang stalking me with thousands of people at a time on the roads and the highways, and they're also doing so while the entity is engaged in ambush conduct like I captured in the previous video, stalking by helicopters, stalking by that agency, criminal summoning, and OMNITRANS molesting and terrorizing, harassing with impossible light, targeting through the demon-possessed drivers, targeting me with Pomona police, targeting me with Fontana police, targeting me with Ontario police. The OMNITRANS employees are subject to federal prison in the same way that every other gang stalker is. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that's keeping the fake sun over me. This is going on the record because there are many prosecutions that are occurring. P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 9:51 a.m. This is light activity by a demon. This is mental illness. This is sad. This is sad. This is the mental illness, though. And they're stalked with impossible light. PG 036, handicap. Her handicap is that she's a demon. Okay? This is P.O.C. That's mental illness. And their mental illness is shared by the Ontario Police Department. They are being disbanded. And this is exposing them their mental illness based on their practice of witchcraft. That's why they have this mentally ill behavior. They're going to be disbanded, and this is calling for martial law. This is exactly what this is the basis of, martial law. This is criminal summoning, P.O.C. Stalking in the past. 8DTB837, they're targeting together. That's a psychopath. It's under the fake sun. This is P.O.C. That's Mike LORENZ. He's going to be subject to mental examinations. D. Rodriguez is going to federal prison. And this is the pattern of conduct. This has no place over the Ontario Town Square. The fake sun's over the Ontario Town Square where they're stalking, sounding their sirens, engaging in what is keeping the fake sun over the Ontario Town Square. Yeah, that's the pattern of conduct. They're being disbanded, and they're going to prison for conspiring my murder and stalking in police vehicles, wearing guns on their waists, bearing badges, making false and malicious accusations. They're going to prison. They like to keep my vagina under surveillance. They're sex offenders. Vehicle 1113, let me show you the fake son that this demon is stalking under, because it's right here. This is P.O.C. All right, the mentally ill, this is calling for what is going to be martial law. There will be no police department in the city of Ontario, and martial law is called for where this lawlessness and this disorderly conduct is the cause of Mike Lorenz and Derek Williams. That's why they're going to prison, but this is also calling for what is necessary martial law, the lawlessness of the people of the state. P.O.C. This is P.O.C. 1545817. This is bus number 2347. And the entities engage in the pattern of conduct with the city of Ontario, doing so while they're stalking by helicopter and planes. The entities engage in that P.O.C. under the fake sun. So I'm going to show you the sun that's not remaining in the window. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, this is the same demon that was targeted with Pomona, as a matter of fact. Hi, I need to buy my pass. Is it okay that I do it on the bus or not? Electronically, yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. He was targeting with the city of Pomona Police and also doing so with Ontario Police. Not a coincidence as I'm reviewing that. This is license plate. That's federal prison. License plate 1545817. And as I'm documenting the fake son that's remaining over me while he was gang stalking me with Pomona Police, that's federal prison. Here's the fake son that's not remaining in any window of any bus or any vehicle. They're gang stalking while that's occurring. And that's the evidence that I've been capturing of the OMNITRANS engaging in what is state terrorism, state stalking, and further into murder. And they're threatening your life while they're on the roads and the highways operating vehicles. Those are not accidents that they have. It's murder. It's the same with the gang stalking planes. They don't have accidents. These are monitoring demons. They sound their sirens with regard to knowledge of what I'm stating and who I am and where I'm at. The fake son is the evidence of that. LAPD committed murder. UPS committed murder in Kentucky. Okay? This is the entity that's engaged in that. That particular male is engaged in targeting me with the Pomona Police Department and the Ontario Police Department, and it is already documented on the record when I'm documenting the entity targeting me from city to city. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 9:57 a.m. The gang stalking bus drivers that are targeting with the state are going to prison. P.O.C. 9UHL24L, stalking with impossible light targeting, and the entities engaging in also what is a history of targeting as a bus line. This is relevant to what is Alan D. Wapner, who again is going to be subject to prosecution, federal prosecution, gang stalking by the airport, gang stalking by the OMNITRANS bus line in furtherance of murder. He's not exempted at all. He's subject to a federal prosecution. This is P.O.C. These are demons that are engaging in terrorism with the state. That's relevant with regard to the mental illness behind stalking with impossible light while you're driving on the street and engineer lights coming back toward me, and I've documented this pattern already. This is, again, P.O.C. This is HOLT and Vine, and it is currently 9:58 a.m. There is no sun even in the direction of the OVITT Family Community Library, where Mickey is simultaneously being prosecuted. She's going to prison for gang stalking me with the Ontario Police that are maintaining surveillance while I'm at what is Vine and Holt Boulevard. She's engaging in surveillance while engaging in criminal summoning, harassing, vagina monitoring. Her and Alexander and Alex and Myra and John and you have Alexander and the entity that's maintaining that surveillance of Brianna, Yesenia. They're gang stalking at the OVITT Family Community Library, which is in that direction. This is P.O.C. It's 9:58. Remember, 10 a.m., all the demons who are the people of the state who are stalking with light are engaging in what is congregating at that library to maintain surveillance, just like they are now maintaining surveillance. 9LBL619. This is the mentally ill. And this is failed witchcraft. I'm prosecuting, gathering evidence. I'm not emotionally invested in anything. Terrorists are going to be, I will be celebrating when they're deported, and this country is going to be celebrating because you're aware about what they're doing. That's audible activity of a terrorist. 9CGX767. This is the entity that's going to be celebrating when they're in prison. They're keeping your children's genitalia under surveillance, and they're doing so outside of the country of outside of the United States. Okay? They're engaging in what is kidnapping and murdering people, and then controlling the narrative, telling you something else on the news. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity that's going to prison. Mike Lorenz is going to federal prison. Okay? He doesn't even have any strategy for avoiding prison. He's so mentally ill. He is walking in agreement with that inevitable end, that inevitable conclusion. He's going to prison. 7W58956. This is targeting, clear targeting by that agency, and it's also clear mental illness exhibited by that agency that's sharing a pattern of conduct with the people of the state. This is P.O.C. This is Empire Place. It's 10 a.m. on the dot. P.O.C. Nine Charlie Thomas Victor 899. These are demons engaging in surveillance. I'm remaining at Holt and Vine, where you hear the videos. This is capturing terrorism, and all of this is relevant for what is martial law that is called for in California. And I am in the city of Ontario. These are the terrorists that are going to be prosecuted. And as I'm documenting license plates, it's simultaneously exposing all the venues. Lupe's Auto Repair, the Holt Boulevard Car Wash. The entity has the fake sun over me at this street, Holt Boulevard Car Wash. I documented 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the evening. This is the Illusion, where the entity is engaged in criminal surveillance, where they're stalking by Ontario police vehicles, criminal summoning, and by helicopter over me on the same street. License 9DYS 144. License 32023Z2. 3466KSJ, I believe. 7KDN. I can't really see the rest of that one. ANDCORRUPT is gang stalking. L112 handicap. Their handicap is that they're psychopaths. They're demons. 9NPA. I can't really see the rest of that license plate. ANDCORRUPT is gang stalking under the fake sun, where they bring in the mentally incapacitated to monitor me. License 9UNC 536, and that is abuse to those that are physically incapacitated. They are not engaging what is driving themselves to the library under the fake sun in the engineer light. The demon-possessed of the ANDCORRUPT workforce, who are in the medical field and they're unfit, are taking them to the library to sit them in the environment where they engage in their involuntary body movements, monitoring. HCIB 049, JX32372. That's out of state, like a Baja, Mexico license plate. The ANDCORRUPT employees who are demons, who are psychopaths, they're violent sex offenders, they are enemies of this country, and they are working in the medical field. And they are bringing those that are physically incapacitated, those that are engaging in the involuntary, like you have Tourette syndrome or you have Down syndrome. I just want to be clear, it's not a bar to demon possession. That's not a bar to demon possession. That doesn't mean that you're not demon possessed. What I am stating is that ANDCORRUPT employees that are in charge of the mentally incapacitated, ANDCORRUPT employees are mentally incapacitated as well. They like to create an illusion like one is mental illness and the other. They're psychopaths. They are mentally ill. They're light-slinging gargoyles, SANDOV. They're psychopaths that bring the physically incapacitated to come around stalking and monitoring me and monitoring my vagina. They're sex offenders, and they're facilitators of sexual violence in concert with Mike LORENZ, the agency that's stalking me here, just like they're stalking me at the OVITT Family Community Library. And this is what ANDCORRUPT is intentionally doing while they're doing so under the fake sun. And those demons, a group of the mentally incapacitated, are over there pacing into the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library. ANDCORRUPT is targeting while they're stalking in the path right now, while I'm on Holt Boulevard and the fake sun's not even over the Civic Center, it's not even on Euclid Avenue. It's not even in the direction. License 21615T2, ND4, that's a business, they're a gang stalking business, and so is the demon operating that commercial vehicle. P.O.C. These are demons that are subject to what is the same prosecution, and this is already, like I stated, the Ontario Police is already exposed as a terrorist organization, and the fact that they've been targeting and furtherance of murder, this is relevant to the defamation that they've engaged in. This is relevant to every act of harassment, like what D. Rodriguez is engaged in, what J. Chu and Rodriguez on last Sunday, the 11th, that they engaged in, what the kidnapping on May 29th with Tracy Banks, what that is about while they're targeting. They've been engaged in stalking me, and you're trying to engage in what is defaming. At the same time, they're all going to federal prison, and so is Mike LORENZ. He's going to be prosecuted how? As a terrorist leader. The pattern of conduct by this agency that's engaging in state surveillance outside of the consent, outside of any authority of the Constitution, okay? And doing so while I'm documenting it, and that aggravates and frustrates what are psychopaths in the first place, that then engage in more stalking and harassment using helicopters and sounding their sirens. Monitoring 9BCZ712, where you hear that chaotic 8POA502, where you hear that chaotic that loud warlike environment, the sirens and the helicopter activity. This is an entity that's monitoring. This is lawlessness that you're hearing. It's the sound of lawlessness. And martial law is what is called for. It's what is necessary. Okay? Martial law to deal with gang stalking businesses like Greg Electric. Okay? Molesting with impossible light. That lawlessness that they're acting with today, it's going to be mindful in federal court. Okay, martial law is going to deal with gang stalking businesses, gang stalking immigrants, gang stalking agencies like the Ontario Police, gang stalking departments like the Ontario Fire Department and Michael GERKEN, gang stalking airports like the Ontario International Airport. Martial law is going to deal with all of that. And so is the federal prosecution for domestic terrorism and psychological torture. 55151A4, stalking with impossible light, and also doing so while they are molesting under the fake sun, and the entity is sounding sirens. It's 10:06 a.m. And the fake sun's not over the OVITT Family Community Library. Like I said, this is simultaneously putting, like it is every other day, the demons in federal prison that committed kidnapping at the OVITT Family Community Library. Because those demons are walking into the bathroom on behalf of the demons that are stalking me by helicopter, stalking me by planes, stalking me with impossible light. These demons, these upright cockroaches, walk into the bathroom to maintain surveillance. 38177J3, that's AAA, AAA, 8UEM591, 8UMK077, 12903V1, California 84309, 4XEW051, 8XKN789. The entities engaging in this pattern of conduct while they are monitoring, and they are monitoring with the Ontario Police, 41167C2. Don't forget that the entity has the fake sun while I am remaining in the city of Pomona, outside of the windows of the Pomona Regional Transit Center, and I'm documenting, reminding you about the entity keeping the fake sun over me while I'm in Ontario, where demons are sounding this plate activity. Let me get this. That is AMR, and I'm going to show you the fake sun where those are demons that are manifesting. This is showing you what LAPD is engaging in. LAPD engaged in what is premeditated murder, taking the life of an American citizen while they are maintaining surveillance, and they're doing so while they are engaging in the pattern of conduct regarding what is knowledge about who you are, where you're at, and it's engaging in what is running over that young man in Los Angeles while he was on a skateboard. The entity that's engaging in what is sounding their sirens is engaging in what are the elements of monitoring. LAPD, the city of Los Angeles, is engaged in criminal surveillance. I documented that. I was subject to it. The entity keeping me under surveillance through LAPD, which is also why Mike LORENZ is being prosecuted. The body of evidence that surrounds outside of what the Ontario Police Department have done on video. The shared pattern of conduct by Los Angeles in the specific environment, speaking to what is the impossibility of any coincidence, but the identification of a shared pattern. This is the entity that's engaging what is sounding sirens, doing so in the specific environment with regard to what is targeting, that's identified, targeting a specific person based on what it is that you're stating, based on OMNITRANS monitoring 1404972 bus 1328. All right, it is currently also 10:09 a.m. and the fake sun's remaining stationary while OMNITRANS buses are pacing. That's what they're doing. Hi, I'm buying my ticket online. Can I get on the bus? And thank you. Just want to be clear, this is psychopathic pacing, not traffic. So while the fake sun remains over me and the buses are passing, yeah, it's the same context. All right, I'm in the process of buying it right now. Thank you. It's 10:10.
Attention folks, we got a little bit of a detour coming up. We're going to make a left on campus, a right on right on out, back on to home. If you need to get off before we get there, please let me know. Thank you.
How far is the detour?
It's only until Allen, and then we get back onto home.
Oh, okay.
It's in the past.
Alrighty, that's monitoring. I just purchased a ticket. It's the bus stop request is occurring at the same time that the ticket is activated. That's an example of monitoring. And the fake sun is a video that I just captured as well. This is targeting on the bus. The fake sun's remaining over the OVITT Family Community Library, for example. And the entity's keeping the fake sun through the window of this bus that's driving on Hope Boulevard, then turning onto campus, and then turning onto what is, this should be, yeah, this is campus turning back onto Holt. The detour that he's describing, and he's describing it with regard to monitoring, as I'm capturing that video, by the way. It's 10:16 a.m. The demons are pacing on and off the bus. The context of the fake sun and the engineer light lets you know what the demon possessed are doing. They're pacing. The fake sun is over the bus. They're pacing on and off the bus. The fake sun is over me on the bus while the bus is moving, as opposed to remaining stationary over me at the apartment complex, and the buses are driving by, while the entity is stalking by helicopter and stalking using criminal summoning, AMR, and the Ontario Police. They're pacing around me. Now the fake sun is moving at the same speed that the bus is, where I'm positioned on that bus. I just captured video of it. There's no sun over the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library. I've captured this evidence over and over again. This is relevant to what is mental illness, while I've already proven that they're stalking. They are going to be subject to federal prison. Every gang stalker engaged in targeting with the terrorist agencies and furtherance of murder are going to prison. It's currently 10:16 a.m. That includes the demons boarding public transportation to keep you under surveillance. 7WYA 726. This is Holt Boulevard and Grove. The entity that is going out of its way to stalk me multiple times by helicopter on Holt Boulevard from the from the American Stereo venue to the Empire Place Apartments is engaging in surveillance, which is maintained while I'm at the OVITT Family Community Library, as you see, as the pattern of conduct is underway, and while I'm aboard public transportation, as you see, the same pattern of conduct is underway. And it is mutually exclusive. The fake sun that's outside of the passenger side of the bus that is driving east on Holt Boulevard is not stationary over the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library. And going through a series of days of rain and covering up the fake sun will not cause anybody to forget that. Okay, it's the pattern of conduct. They're gang stalking me day and night. The fake sun lets you know who the target is, and it's the bullseye for who is in need of martial law. All right, it is 10:19 a.m. Thank you. Alrighty, getting off the bus. Fake sun following. I captured video of that. That's the pattern of conduct already documented. This is targeting proven by the city of Ontario. A whole city is targeting you in furtherance of murdering you. Okay, a whole city is targeting you that is engaged in what is seeking to keep mental illness closeted. This is exposing public corruption, a matter of public corruption, and it calls for martial law. Okay, it's 10:23 a.m. and I am at the address where I've already documented the pattern of conduct at 7:45 in the morning with regard to the entity engaging in what is criminal summoning, making up information that I'm trying to break into a building, and that's why they were stopping, harassing me while I'm on the sidewalk on a bus bench. The entity engaged in criminal summoning. I'm at 1630 East Holt Boulevard at 10:24 a.m., where the fake sun is over me at the same property. This is indeed P.O.C. This is 10:24 a.m. The entity is maintaining the fake sun over 1630. This is the Cinepec, where the entity is maintaining this pattern of conduct, and I'm here at 7:45 in the morning. This is the entity that has the fake sun over the same person at the same address for 3 hours. Okay, essentially 3 hours, almost 3 hours, and also where the OVITT Family Community Library is in the entirely opposite direction. So no, it is untenable to claim that the sun is over everything, including it's over the entrance in this direction where you clearly don't see it. Okay, so it's not behind my back over the OVITT Family Community Library. Those are demons stalking with noise, while they're also hostile as I expose them and expose a gang stalking business. A gang stalking business is targeting with everybody at that business, and they're all exposed as demons. And they're also all state actors. The same state actors stalking me this morning by helicopter. And they're stalking right now. That's why the fake sun remained in the window of that bus as I come down Holt Boulevard today. And this is evidence of the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct. This is in reference to the 7:45 a.m. act of terrorism documented by the demon that's wearing, again, an Ontario police uniform, and he's going to prison. Just like D. Rodriguez is going to prison. Just like J. Chu and Rodriguez at Starbucks gang stalking. Where on the same street at 1 in the afternoon, the sun would not still be, because that's where that Starbucks is. It's at the end of the same street. They're going to prison. Every angle of analysis, putting them there, and you're assessing mental illness while they are maliciously targeting. And I've shown not only that they're targeting, but they're unintelligent, they're desperate, and they're absurdly corrupt. All right? So is that. That's the entity, that's Alaska Airlines, which is a domestic enemy. This is relevant to stalking. You're doing the same thing over at the Ontario Town Square under a fake sun. Those are the mentally ill that commit murder, and they're being removed altogether. The Ontario Airport is pleading for martial law, and it's coming. The Ontario Police are pleading for martial law, and it's coming. The people of the state, the gang stalkers, the enemies of this country, they're domestic enemies. Literally, by definition, under the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, these are enemies of the country. They're enemies of the United States, and they're pleading for martial law, and that's exactly what's coming. The entity just engaged in that idiotic conduct, and it is not a distraction. The demon that's engaged in criminal summoning, I'll attach it to this video, 7:45 in the morning. I'm juxtaposing that, which this is not over what is the intersection of F Street and I believe that is at in the neighborhood where the medical clinic is located. And the entity's taking off. The entity is taking off. I'm capturing video. I'm going to continue speaking because I'm still recording podcast. The entity is taking off at the intersection of that intersection where this entity arrives in the police vehicle stating, oh, we got a call. And that's all they, oh, well, we got a call. We don't know, and I don't know what happened. I'm just here because I'm here representing their interests of private property. I'm here because they called and they don't want you here. I'm here because I got a call and that you were harassing someone. I'm here because we got a call that you are trying to break into a building. They're gang stalking and furtherance of murder, and they're engaging in surveillance, and they exhibit severe mental illness in doing so. And so does the entity that's stalking and commercial planes like you just witnessed, Alaska Airlines. Doing so at 1630 North Euclid Avenue. But what are they doing over Stater Brothers parking lot? What are they doing over Vesta? What are they doing over the Chevron when they're acting like they're taking off right there at Lemon Avenue and landing? What are they doing hovering over the Saris Regis Group, the downtown Ontario luxury apartments, when they're acting like they're landing right there? What are they doing when they are hovering behind the Ontario Town Square Amphitheater? Because what is that? Because Alaska Airlines just engaged in what is stalking under the fake sun. where they are engaging in what is a very blatant stalking. And blatantly stalking somebody is providing evidence to the relevant medical officials who are going to diagnose you. You want to be crazy in front of everyone, you're being crazy in front of an audience that's going to diagnose you and convict you. That's what they're doing. The entities engaging in this under company names, which you need to understand and recognize and associate with terrorists in this country, who are enemies of this country. And they're also doing so while they are doing it on behalf of corrupt terrorist organizations. 3833, I can't really see that license plate. They're doing so on behalf of corrupt terrorist organizations who are stalking me by helicopter like you see this morning. Not helpful to that agency, not helpful to Mike, but they're mentally ill. You think Mike Lorenz is concerned about what's helpful to him? This demon's concerned and scared about dropping dead because of death spells that they sent out. And guess what? That's not a defense in court. Neither is that the federal court's concern, whether he drops dead from witchcraft in his federal cell. He's going to prison, though. 49538 Mary 3, SUDETTA, Q3QTRO, 9PDY973, 9LUD879, 8FHY861. And I think I read all those. This is the entity that's gang stalking with the airport that took off right here. There's no takeoffs over here. They're acting like they're taking off at the intersection of Vine and Holt Boulevard as well. So what is Alaska Airlines doing right up here at 1630? This is what I'm stating. The entity is taking off. The plane activity is so disruptive inside of Tracy Banks' apartment, rather, that they're sounding as though they're taking off while I'm at her apartment at 408 West G Street. So what is Alaska Airlines doing here on Holt Boulevard? It's only one terminal. One airport. So how, when you're taking off here like Alaska Airlines just did on video, what is going on at the Ontario Town Square? How are you engaging in what is an ongoing deviation from this location where you are asserting that you're doing so appliedly because we're analyzing what you're doing? And it's also further than my analysis in court, it's going to be proven based on the airport and pilots taking off what the Ontario International Airport is going to be shut down for. But the entity is engaging in this, and so how does the flight that I'm documenting, the beelines over the Ontario Town Square, feed into what Alaska Airlines just did right now at 1630 East Holt Boulevard? All right, and it's also relevant because the fake sun is showing how they are targeting me while they're engaging in all manner of documented asininity, exhibiting mental illness, which medical professionals are going to use to diagnose when they're being prosecuted. They are going to, and these demons are going to be pulled out of planes. They're not hiding behind any company name, no airline, and no City of Ontario is not going to help you. City of Ontario is being gutted out. Martial law is going to basically shut down this lawlessness. I'll put it that way, to put it in diplomatic terms. But this is what is called for, okay? The entity is keeping the fake sun over me. It's currently 10:31 a.m. This is P.O.C. And I'm now at I'm documenting those license plates. So understand the context. The fake sun's over me on Holt Boulevard. This is pacing. They're demons and they're pacing. And this is a movement, meaning a deviation of the sun being over the OVITT Family Community Library. It's not. That means it's not sunlight that they're all standing in either. That's not the natural environment. That's giving you context regarding what the entity is engaged in. All right, that's P.O.C. And this is the entity that is indeed engaging in what is targeting. I'm going to go ahead and take pictures. You'll see that. And targeting, this is the fake sun that's over me at 1555 East Holt. Remember, the fake sun is here over this post office at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's already on the record. And the entity is engaging in that while the fake sun's in the opposite direction where this airport is targeting me by flying in beelines over the Ontario Town Square. And the two are not happening at the same time. These demons are inside of the United States Postal Service. That's the federal government that's engaged in the pattern of conduct. Okay, this is already relevant. The entity engaging in what is, there's no demon that's standing outside of my mailbox as though UPS and United States Postal Service and Amazon Prime aren't engaged in targeting. No, the United States Postal Service, those are demons. And they're engaged in targeting through withholding my mail, knowing exactly who I am. No demon has to stand and ask the post office who doesn't know who I am to give them my mail, which is a federal offense. But that's not what's happening here. USPS is shown to be targeting. They are relevant to with regard to the demons that have been targeting me as well and keeping concealed from me what is court hearings and property that I should have been given notice about. And this is also assuming that it was even mailed out to me in the first place, because the United States Postal Service is engaged in what is withholding mail and rerouting mail, misdirecting mail, misspelling my name intentionally while you're targeting. You know exactly who I am and where I'm at. Us also while you're monitoring demons. So I just want to be clear, all of these narratives of, oh, somebody stood outside and asked the mailman to give you their mail while she dressed up. No, that's not what happened. These are all demons and they're all monitored. They're all engaged in surveillance. You're a targeted individual. They all know who you are. They all are monitoring the status of your genitalia. This is sexual violence, which is inhumane. Okay? And the United States Postal Service are engaged in that. And they are engaged in what is theft of my property and conspiracy to commit murder. And they're going to be prosecuted accordingly. They are the reason why the entities engaged in what is keeping information from me that I'm entitled to, court hearings and property, never disclosed, while simultaneously gang stalking and furtherance of murder. This is P.O.C. The puppets shall now engage in pacing in and out and around the United States Postal Service. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. This is engineer light. This is crossing path. Everything has a term of art in the specific environment, and the entities engaging in what is the pattern of conduct. I want to show you. This is engineer light. This is all criminal presence in the path on behalf of the state while they're maintaining surveillance. This is the people of the state maintaining surveillance. This is also a state facilitating venue. This is the United States Postal Service. Remember the Asian male that's babysitting the self-service machine during the, I believe it's like 8 in the morning when I'm here, 7, 8 in the morning. I actually captured video at 7:45 in the morning across the street at 1630 East Holt. This is where the entity is taking off by planes, and I'm going to show you where they're doing the same thing. It's 10:40 a.m. Don't forget about that. She's standing in engineer light. So let me go ahead and show you what she's standing in while she's monitoring. With the government, that's stalking, that's noise, and this is impossible light. This is a psychopath. These are the demon-possessed that are engaging in keeping you under surveillance while ostensibly being focused on something that there's nothing that will create her shadow, my shadow. That's a demon, okay? And they're unintelligent. The fake sun's here in the morning, the fake sun's here in the afternoon. The entity has that mirage of light that I captured, and it's dynamic right now. This is monitoring. This is all criminal monitoring and furtherance of murder. Okay, this is P.O.C. at 10:40 a.m. The entity also has the fake sun outside of the side entrance of Bethel Congregation at 536 North Euclid Avenue, where the airport is stalking, monitoring my vagina in the bathroom of that fake church, where those Satanists claim to be some sort of church that is following Christ Jesus, and they are not. That's why the criminal pattern of conduct is there, and the criminal pattern of conduct is also demonic. This is a pacing demon. Loading and unloading is the guise of the P.O.C. Doing so in impossible light where his shadow is projected. This is shade. None of that shadow of light activity in there is possible to occur naturally. This is demonic activity is what I'm showing you. And I do show that as I juxtapose the gang stalkers, operation of communication devices, crossing path. That's Title 18 federal stalking with the demons that are stalking by planes. The Ontario International Airport is being shut down. It's a sex offender, it's a kidnapper, it's a terrorist, and they're engaged in psychological torture. They're also absurdly mentally ill. And the reason why martial law is also imperative is because the entities engaged in murder like what you see in Kentucky. The entities engaged in murder like what you see with LAPD. The entities engaged in lawlessness like what you see the people of the state engage in. This is surveillance and furtherance of murder as an entity. The sun is not outside of the entrance doors of 536 North Euclid Avenue, where I'm documenting the fake sunrise this morning. Look at my images. I'm documenting that fake sunrise at that same fake church at F Street in Euclid, which is not even in this direction. Okay, that's in the opposite direction, where the entity is targeting with commercial planes from the same airport, however, and they're also doing so while the fake sun's at 536 North Euclid Avenue. This is psychopathic pacing. These are the demons that are slinging light. These are the demons that are going into the bathrooms, keeping my vagina under surveillance as well. These are the demons that are subject to deportation also. That same impunity with murdering people, conspiring against them, targeting them, monitoring them, regardless of the evidence. Now you're able to see their mental illness that they wanted you to never witness in the first place, including including while they're stalking in planes and helicopters, ambulances, fire trucks, and police vehicles. This is P.O.C. Burtnick is gang stalking as I'm documenting at 7:45 a.m. and I'm referring to you to what's happening at 7:45 on the opposite side of the town. And it's still here over me at this same address where these demons are concentrating plane activity, and they are pacing under a fake sun. This is a mentally ill population. Okay, gang stalking and doing so while they don't address you, don't look at you, and you are the whole reason why they're there. P.O.C. It is currently 10:44 a.m. at 1555 East Holt Boulevard, where I've already documented the fake sun. It's still here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This is the disbanding of the Ontario Police, the removal of the Ontario Fire Department, the shutdown of the Ontario International Airport, the deportation of the people of the state that are gang stalking immigrants. They're engaged in terrorism. And the federal prosecution of Mike LORENZ. He's going to prison, and every kidnapper, everyone engaged in criminal summit, including this population with that agency, they're going to prison. P.O.C.
Clearer skin is possible. In clinical trials, at least 70% of patients saw at least...
It's 10:47 a.m.
At 16 weeks. Results may vary. Tremfya is also indicated for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Call 1-800-566-7736 or visit Tremfya.com.
Makita knows that pros never settle, and neither do we. With Makita, you get tools that perform at the highest level on every job without compromise. Makita is for the most detailed pros, expertly engineered to deliver precision, job after job.
Alrighty, it's 10:48. I'm going to go ahead and pause here, and I'll resume. Hello. A couple of things. Well, let me give you my ID. I do need to check my mail, and I also have a package that should have, so I guess it's the same thing, but I know one package has arrived, but I also just want to check my mail in general, so. The general mail.
Oh, general? Last name?
Spencer.
Put the last name here.
No, you don't need my ID instead? Or? Well, this one's expired. I'll give you this one. Mr. De La Cruz is monitoring while he's asking me for my ID. This is psychopathic behavior. You're going to prosecute mindful of every detail of the pattern of conduct. The fake sun, the targeting by the government, following around, including by helicopters, and you're asking. This is the entity that's engaging in surveillance and maintaining this illusion, and also the illusion of the specific environment and the reality of mental illness that's going to be diagnosed by their malicious behavior and speech. Okay? But to not ask for ID is to assume, not to assume, is to admit that you know, and they do know. But it's okay, you don't have to say a word. But as they engage in gang stalking and then that sort of audible activity, it's going to be used to diagnose the mental illness. The entity is amplifying plane activity, the fake sun, molesting with impossible light, psychopathic pacing, terrorism underway at the United States Postal Service, and then doing things like, oh, what's your name? Okay. While they know exactly who you are.
Yeah.
Alex?
But each one, there's nothing.
Okay, nothing from FedEx?
Yeah.
Okay.
Check already.
Yeah, they told me that they were delivering it on Saturday, so you're saying there's no delivery from FedEx at all? Okay. Thank you. You're Alex? Okay, thank you, Alex.
I don't even remember.
Alrighty. Thank you. Alrighty. FedEx is a gang stalker, but FedEx is scheduled to bring a shipping which was scheduled for the 15th, and so of course I didn't come on the 15th. That's a Saturday also, and so that would have been the next business day, Monday. Today is Tuesday. This is the entity engaged. I documented this before, expecting a shipment, and the entity, and you also pay for it to arrive at a certain time. The entity that's monitoring you engages in harassment by these sorts of things, and also the demons are hostile because I am documenting them so heavily, and it's very stupid. This is what the demon-possessed Ontario Police Department do, and I get all your stupidity and all your hostility on video. But this is the entity that engages in that. But this is P.O.C. The entity was supposed to deliver days ago what is a shipment to this address, 1555 East Hope Boulevard. And Alex De La Cruz, who was monitoring me, gang stalking, which the United States Postal Service is maintaining full control of the date and time that you receive anything in the mail, and stating that I have not received it. So I just want to document that. They maintain control of that. All right, this is relevant to surveillance. This is P.O.C. 8. I want to say 8BQG 441. It's audible noise and engineer light under the fake sun. They're demons. And that includes Alex De La Cruz. So this is what is so telling. I laugh at it because the simple that think that they're going to defame me, I'm going to prosecute you and have you put into mental facilities for engaging in that. But this is what the entity, they're stalking, monitoring, psychopathic behavior, deranged feces-eating behavior, while they're asking you, okay, what's your name? What's your name again? What's your ID? Who's your ID? And they're monitoring you. That's mental illness that's exhibited while they do that. It's mutually exclusive. You're monitoring, you're gang stalking the fake sons over the venue. You know exactly who I am, Satan. Okay? That's called malice. Yeah, today is November 18th. I'm publishing this because this is relevant to ongoing harassment by the state. And these gang stalking carriers, they're going to be federally prosecuted as well. They engage in, I documented Amazon Prime, I documented DHL, I documented United States Postal Service targeting me with the Los Angeles Police Department, stalking, flying over my office, flying over my apartment building, terrorizing me while they're making deliveries. The entity is maintaining control of when you're receiving your mail and packages, even when you pay for it to arrive in a timely manner, even when they have provided what is noticed to you for you to expect it within 5 minutes. That's an agreement. Not only that, it's relevant because it's not just a some delay. It's relevant to the pattern of conduct also because I'm documenting. And I'm documenting you both monitoring and claiming, oh, your package arrived outside of what we stated when it was going to arrive, while we're monitoring you, and you're documenting that we're monitoring you. That's relevant. But nonetheless, this package is supposed to is scheduled to arrive. It said, let's see, shipment information. That's audible activity by a demon that's monitoring in the engineered light that you already saw on video. Okay, Alex de la Cruz is a psychopath. He's a demon, a monitoring one, and engaging what is asking me my name when he's a vagina monitoring gargoyle, stalking with noise. All right, and that's every other demon that's, again, working for the federal government, engaging in criminal surveillance and furtherance of monitoring. The entities engaged in this, and it looks as though yeah, it says November 7th in Shafter, November 10th, it was in Shafter, California, on the way as of November 11th, out for delivery, and of course, no other information while I am looking at it. That loud noise is relevant to monitoring, understand that. Okay, this is the entity that is indeed engaged in targeting through the withholding of mail. That's a federal offense. I'm going to prosecute. This is the entity that's stalking by helicopter, stalking by commercial plane, stalking under the fake sun. It's 11:02 a.m. This entity is stalking. That loud noise you heard, it's directly relevant to there being no more information available regarding the tracking information for my FedEx package. That's the P.O.C. Remember what Alan, excuse me, not Alan, but Alex de la Cruz is stating. Oh, no, it's not here. The entity is engaged in what is maintaining control of that as well. So I just want to make sure that that is relevant, that is understood. Let me go ahead and get this. I'm going to go ahead and look it up on the FedEx site really quickly. This is the pettiness of demons that engage in light slinging when they're hostile, and they're going to be put in mental wards for that. These are demons that engage in pettiness, such as holding back a package. And guess what? Every time I come back, I prosecute you with more evidence. While you're engaging, these are demons. This is the character of Satan. While you engage in what is both petty and also it's life-threatening, because the police have no business stalking, and they're stalking in helicopters. Not only are you petty, but you're going to prison for your pettiness, which is terrorism, because you're stalking as an agency. They do so while they're hostile regarding this investigation. And martial law is going to respond to that mental illness that's shared by a population. Martial law is required here. It's an unprecedented basis to enforce martial law. And as I'm showing you, the federal government, every United States Postal Service shares in that lawlessness in that criminal system. Let me see. Yeah, so I got an email on November 14th, and it says, packages usually arrive within 24 hours after this email, and it should be arriving at 1555 East Holt Boulevard, where they are and keeping me under surveillance and harassing and targeting me as well, including Alex de la Cruz, who is stating that my package has not arrived, and FedEx is a documented gang stalker targeting me as well, and so are the people of the state that operate the FedEx vehicles and that are working at the United States Postal Service, coming to the Postal Service to engage in the P.O.C. So this is, again, a means of that same exact pattern of conduct. Just want make sure that that's pointed out, and I am documenting this because this is relevant to domestic terrorism that an American citizen is subject to. The entity engages in what is harassing you through whatever they have at their disposal. While a population practices harassing you altogether, it is terrorism as well. It's also terrorism because the government itself is gang stalking you in furtherance of murdering you in that specific environment. And using the resources of the government to do it, like with planes and helicopters, and doing so as psychopaths that are molesting, targeting, stalking you with light, keeping a whole environment that's not even naturally occurring, like the fake sun that's over these United States Postal Service. Okay, that's domestic terrorism. While they're conspiring your murder together, that's domestic terrorism. Okay. P.O.C. while they engage in kidnapping, while they engage in what is defaming your character in order to accomplish kidnapping, while they engage in what is targeting you and making up information to target you more conspicuously in your face. This is domestic terrorism. It is currently, by the way, 11:06 a.m. Yeah, it did say out for delivery. Let's see. Yeah, it says your package is still on the way and we're actively working to get you a new delivery date. So they're holding on indefinitely to my package while FedEx is gang stalking every day. I documented them crossing path with the Ontario Police Department on Lemon Avenue yesterday morning. It's the same company. It's the same uniform knowledge about who I am and targeting. And the entities engaged in this. The entity providing what is the forecast of what is November 15th initially to receive my my package, and the entities engaging in what is this is nothing other than harassment. I just want to document this. This is relevant to the entity and all the damages, the criminal prosecution, the companies, the ways in which practically gang stalking is executed, and it's really the demon-possessed that are envious, that are obsessed, that are engaged in what is any and every way to target you, even, and it's very petty, again, normal, healthy, sane, all of the above. Do not engage in this, and the entity is engaged in any way. Oh, if we can break your number 2 pencil so you can't write your name while you're preparing to take your standardized test to get your license to take care of animals or whatever they do, just give you an example, then they'll break your number 2 pencil, and then they'll break all the pencils so that where you go to the bin to get another pencil, you won't be able to use the pencil because they're all broken, and they feel better because they did something to make something very petty difficult for you, okay? And really, you're just going to go to the pencil sharpener wherever there is a pencil sharpener if you're prepared and you have a pencil sharpener to take your standard. But this is giving you an example. That's the mindset, the mentally ill, very petty, and also psychopathic serial killers, violent sex offenders, okay, conspiring death together while they are stalking. It's 11:08 a.m. This is P.O.C. targeting by the United States Postal Service. Alrighty, the same P.O.C. based on operation of my device. As I log off from the internet, demons coming to stand next to you, be next to you. They're doing so under the fake sun, okay? Of all ages, which I've shown, demons of all ages and all races engage in that same pattern of conduct, and that is psychopathic stalking on behalf of the government. All right, this is the entity that's engaged in that, exhibiting their mental illness and the fact that they're sex offenders while they do that, because they do that centered around your genitalia. All right, this aged third party stands next to me that's crossing path as at the moment that I log off of my hotspot. That's monitoring conduct, okay? In the same way that you heard the loud noise inside of the post office, that loud noise is occurring was simultaneous to my opening up the tracking details regarding the package that Alex is stating is, Mr. De La Cruz is stating is not there. Which is evidence of, it's relevant to what is ongoing surveillance. The entity delaying your package, you're getting your package on time, publishing things on the internet directly impacts what is the entity getting your mail, getting your packages, etc. The entity is gang stalking by Ontario Police. Is that the demon I just saw? Yeah, it always is. P.O.C. License plate 9LZK078 and 9FZW501. Gang stalking with these old geezers that are these hellbound geezers inside of the United States Postal Service, okay? Being hellbound has no age limitations. Satan has minions. Satan has puppets of all ages and all races. And when you're going to prosecute, you need to stop. And when you're going to prosecute, you're going to deport what I suspect are immigrants right here. License. Oh, no license plate. That's why they're so bold. That's why they're so bold. Those are the cowards that engage in that pattern of conduct. This is the entity engaged in that P.O.C. while they're monitoring with Costa Mesa covering the, I documented Costa Mesa, by the way, with Costa Mesa paper coverings over the license plates while they're engaging what is driving toward me as though you're not going to stop. That's the entity that's hostile. They're just mad. In other words, the fake signs over the same location, Howard, what you're going to pay attention to are the facts. The fake signs over the same location that it is at 7:45 in the morning over me. 7:45 in the morning, and I cross the street and I wait for the post office to open. And the entity is maintaining this fake sign over this same address. And that is speaking to the fact that it is not over the OVITT Family Community Library. And I have documented this. And like I stated yesterday, the world has witnessed the ongoing criminal activity of the OVITT Family Community Library, which is not protected. I want to be clear. Those employees are fully exposed to a prosecution under federal law. They're not protected at all. In fact, the entity engages in the pattern of conduct. They target me. They target me at places like Starbucks, for example, right? And this is, the entity surmises that it's better that they're gang stalking at a venue of the city of Ontario rather than at Starbucks. And I'm going to be clear, it's not. These are demons that are idiotic, first of all. They're idiotic because they engage in targeting, and it's the same targeting inside of Starbucks. And Mickey, Alexander, Alex, are you letting me go or what are you doing? Thank you. Alexander, Alex, Myra, who else? Those demons, Brianna, those demons, John, the Yesenia, that work so hard pacing all day long. You would think that they would get plenty of carbs and they'd be in better shape than what they are, but they're not. Those pacing demons are inside of a venue of the city of Ontario engaged in the same pattern of conduct as what's underway in Starbucks. And I have fully documented Starbucks. I don't have to be inside of Starbucks. I only have to be at your venue one time, by the way. And by the way, I take that back because I don't have to be there. But the pattern of conduct is such that my being at your venue one time, I don't need to be there every day, all day. I don't, because of the nature of the pattern of conduct. I get that fake sign over me in West Covina one time. One time, because it's never the natural environment. That's never happening when these idiots keep a fake sign over the OVITT Family Community Library all day long. Okay, so the entity is also engaged in this conduct because in their minds, they're idiots. This is not establishing that the criminal system is only underway in Ontario and that's sitting around Ontario, California, and that it's primarily occurring amongst the corruption in Ontario, as though you're limiting it, and it's not. Jason Fields is going to federal prison for domestic terrorism. That's underway in the United States, and I'm exposing it in California because there is no sun and there would never be any sunny day in San Francisco, contrary to what they are experiencing in San Francisco, in Sacramento, in Modesto, in San Luis Obispo. That's a fake sun that's over me. I don't have to be in those cities to expose what is statewide, what is entirely nationwide, because there's no sun in Florida. This entity is not engaging in any legal analysis, and while they target me, you are going to be prosecuted the same. Those employees at the OVITT Family Community Library aren't getting any protection from the City of Ontario. The City of Ontario is going to be gutted out, first of all, and second of all, the gang stalkers at the OVITT Family Community Library are fully exposed, as though they're walking around in the nude, because I'm going to prosecute them, and the government is not helping. The government cannot help them. Okay, you're talking about what's a civil and criminal prosecution. The City of Ontario is in no position to negotiate out of anybody else's criminal case. It's not happening. They are going to prison. Yesenia, Alex, everybody engaged in criminal summoning, Abigail, those that are gang stalking. The entity engages in targeting me at Starbucks because you don't want me inside of it's not even a private property, but that'll be dealt with in federal court.
because you don't want me inside of a venue distinct from a City of Ontario venue when they're engaged in the same criminal pattern of conduct, where the entity has no protection. The employees at OVITT Family Community Library are as exposed as the employees at Starbucks, as the company owner of Starbucks, the P.O.C. Thank you. Sorry, I hope it's opening up. This one's good. Do I need Wi-Fi to open up the app? You have Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah, the 2300s do.
You said the 23.
Don't worry about it. You have it next time.
Well, thank you, but I have it. Hold on.
No, you good. I'm late.
Oh, okay. Alrighty, it's 11:21 a.m. Alrighty, this is the fake summons at me over me at Vine and Holt Boulevard. I'm here in the afternoon after Jay Chu and Rodriguez engage in criminal summoning at this Starbucks. We're right over here, where the fake sun is over me at that roof after 1 o'clock in the afternoon, where it will not be, especially where you're seeing it moving through the window of the bus. And it's moving as we are approaching the gang stalking Ontario International Airport. That is also a facilitating venue where no takeoffs from Airport Drive. Okay, this is, let me show you where we're at. This is Vineyard, and which street is this? Yeah, this is Airport Drive, right? It sure is. This is Airport Drive, and like I stated, the Airport Drive, which is where the airport is, there is no airport property east of the Ontario City Hall. The Ontario Airport Drive, the Ontario International Airport, is south of Holt Boulevard that we just came off of. The entity is engaged in, this is the fake sun moving as I move on the bus. There will be no sun over 111 North Vineyard Avenue. Jay Chu and Rodriguez are going to federal prison, so are the employees of Starbucks engaged in criminal summoning and targeting me with the intent to obstruct justice while they're engaging in surveillance. And they are as exposed as the demons at the OVITT Family Community Library, where this fake sun is, by definition, proven because it's not over the entrance. This is the entity that's engaging what is stalking when they're flying like they're taking off over the Ontario City Hall, which the entity is maintaining a location where there's no airport property east of the Ontario City Hall. The airport, as you can see, where the fake sun is over me, is south of Holt Boulevard. So at what point are you getting to flying miles away from the airport and then hovering over the Ontario City Hall, the Ontario Senior Center, and the 280 North Limit Apartments to engage in what is present by me under that fake sun that's rising and setting at that Civic Center, where the OVITT Family Community Library is. This is P.O.C. It's currently 11:23 a.m. This is, and during daylight savings time, it's 12:23 p.m. where my documentation shows the entities keeping that fake sign over the OVITT Family Community Library, which is nothing other than a heavily documented facilitating venue. It is not the evidence speaking to the criminal surveillance system only happening and chiefly underway in Ontario, California. That's not what this evidence shows and proves at all. P.O.C. It is, again, the Ontario. I'm going to go ahead and show you how the fake sign is moving. Because the entity is engaging in what is, hold on. If the entity is engaged in what is, why is he, everything okay?
Good.
I'm good. Why did you stop?
No, that's fine.
Oh, okay. He's, I don't see no stop over here, but yeah, I am. I'm getting it. The entity's engaged in what is, I don't see a bus stop over here, but I want to get the fake sign that's right here over the bus, and he makes an abrupt stop as I get up, stalking with activity. Whoa, 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 whoa. And he's engaging in what is monitoring my movements while doing so while operating the bus. But this is 11:24 a.m. This is the fake sign that's over me on the bus. And there's no bus stop over here. There's no bus stop. That's why it's an abrupt, unexpected stop, and they're conversing as to why they engage in what is stalking with activity. This is monitoring. This is P.O.C. All right, that's what that is. But again, I'm not following. I'm good. I'm going to get this documentation. These are demons, and they're monitoring. And this is the 2500 Airport Drive, where there are no takeoffs from here over the Ontario City Hall, over the Ontario Town Square, over the Chevron at 506 North Euclid Avenue, over the ARCO at 434 North Euclid Avenue, over the bus stop at 537 North Euclid Avenue, where this entity is stalking by Southwest Airlines, UPS, United Airlines. The entity is gang stalking through Amazon Prime Air, and these are the terminals where they are the same airport and the same terminal address, which doesn't change, and it's all south of Holt Boulevard. There is no property that is east of what is the OVITT Family Community Library where they are targeting, and no planes taking off from here are going to result in what is hovering in the way in which I've shown you. This is P.O.C. This airport is being shut down. They're engaged in monitoring right now. This is P.O.C. and this is impossible that the sun is ever going to be over the library while it's remaining over me now in movement aboard public transportation, where they're targeting. He pumps on his brakes as I get up in hopes that I also hurt myself. That's the entity that's engaged in that pattern of conduct. They're demons. It's currently 11:25 a.m. at 2500 Airport Drive. This is all engineer light while the sun's over the OVITT Family Community Library. This is deliberate maintenance in the path and activity creation. Okay, you're understanding the operation of that system. This airport is being shut down. Every airline is a domestic enemy engaging in terrorism. UPS is hovering behind the Ontario Town Square amphitheater, hovering over the ARCO gas station. That's miles away on the opposite side of the town, okay? The entity's engaged in targeting while you're looking at that fake sun. This is P.O.C. And this fake sun is not setting in alignment to what is the same city, OVITT Family Community Library. It's still over me at the same city as I'm showing you on the inside of that library after 5 p.m., okay? Showing you how that entity is targeting, including on the property of this airport, okay? This is the pattern of conduct. I'm going to capture this video. This video is at 5 minutes so far, but I want you to see, because you can see where the planes are parked in the, this is literally where the planes are located and where they're taking off. This 2500, there is nothing that's in alignment with where the entity is stalking and has been stalking over the Stater Brothers parking lot this morning, hovering as though they're taking off, as you saw that psychopathic pacing last night. Doing so in the, that's 646 West Holt Boulevard, while the entity's keeping this fake sun over here. That's not a takeoff. This is the entity that's engaged in all manner of unintelligent, documented acts of surveillance and furtherance of murder. Ontario Airport Board, Alan D. WAPNER, Ronald Loveridge, Jim Bowman, Kurt Hagman, Julia Gu, these demons that are engaging in the pattern of conduct as a corrupt Ontario board, engaging in terrorism, they're being shut down and they're going to be prosecuted as terrorists. All right, and that's the long and short of it. This is calling for martial law. This airport is a threat to national security. They're being shut down for the exposed system of federal group stalking and monitoring. This is P.O.C. All these demons staring at their communication devices are monitoring, and they know who I am. Okay, this is the pattern of conduct. So I want you to pay attention because if I recollect correctly, the terrorist Southwest Airlines right over here, where they're hovering over me on Euclid Avenue. And there's no airport that is speaking to Southwest Airlines hovering anywhere over there. In fact, you're not hovering over any of the locations where they're stalking me when they're taking off from this airport. P.O.C. Takeoffs are completed in the sky space of that airport. P.O.C. is currently 11:28 a.m. and this is the entity keeping that fake sun right over this bus for the duration of the bus ride. Alrighty. Here you go. Now we're going in the opposite direction on Airport Drive. And this is confirmation of what I stated. The airport is south of Holt Boulevard. The entity is going out of its way to stalk me along Euclid Avenue, to stalk me along Holt Boulevard, to stalk me along what is G Street at Woodside Senior Apartments, at the DeBoer Professional Building, to do so along the Economy Inn at 231 South Euclid Avenue where the 60 freeway is. This airport is being shut down. These are demons engaging what is conspiring my murder by stalking through the commercial airlines that are exposed as domestic enemies. P.O.C. All right, the video that you just listened to, that's an act of violence that the driver is committing with the people of the state. There's no bus stop there where he's stopping on the property of the airport. The entity is engaged in what is stopping with simultaneity to my getting up and documenting the fake sun, which again, the demons are hostile toward that. So you have very passive-aggressive, psychopathic behavior. Stopping, and then the excuse for that stop is going to be, oh, well, you're picking up somebody to get on the bus, but there's no bus stop right there. And there's also the entity that is engaging in the pattern of conduct with simultaneity to my activity. The fake sun is what is exposing the actual purpose of that abrupt stop while I'm engaged in documentation. And this is the relevant pattern regarding the targeting by the OMNITRANS employees and the people of the state who are sharing in surveillance together. I'm capturing video when you can see that, stomping on the brakes with regard to causing physical harm, or trying to rather. I didn't follow anything, but that's the entity that's engaged in the intent to do so. And they're also doing so, there's no bus stop that's right there. So I just want to point that out. He's making that inexplicable stop regarding, you don't just stop anywhere and pick people up off the sidewalk. And they certainly don't go out of their way to do that for me, the targeted individual. But they are doing so with regard to monitoring me. That's what's, I want to make sure that that's understood. The entity is engaged in the pattern of conduct at the Ontario International Airport where the fake sun is on video. I just took substantial video. It's a little lengthy, but it's worth it because I wanted to show that. Everything that I've been pointing out while the entity is stalking at the Stater Brothers, stalking at all of those properties actually along Holt Boulevard. The entity stalking along the where I'm at the Cardenas, where I'm walking up and down, and the entity is keeping that fake sun from sunrise. The previous video that you listened to, and I was reminding you about when I went to Pomona, California. I'm standing at the Metro 102 apartments at Plum and Holt. This is during the 7 a.m. hour. The fake sun is there, quote unquote, rising. I'm on the bus going in the opposite direction at 10 in the morning, and the fake sun's in the same position that it is as I'm capturing before I went to Pomona. That was a little bit than a week ago, less than a week ago. The entity is engaged in this pattern of conduct while they are surrounded by the evidence of stalking, which is the environment, okay? The environment is serving to prosecute them and expose them as the Nephilim, but it's also exposing what is a statewide system, okay? And it's not limited to Ontario, and OVITT Family Community Library isn't going to maintain and absorb most of the responsibility of criminal surveillance. This is absurd. If people like Fields, the federal government's going to be prosecuted for what is a nationwide criminal system. It's the U.S. government's pattern of conduct. That's what's relevant regarding the specific environment. That's what's relevant regarding multiple police departments and sheriff's departments acting together pursuant to a pattern of conduct in a specific environment. What is Miami-Dade engaging in with regard to the publicized arrest of the NFL star in Miami, Florida, under the fake sun that's at the same time over me in Hesperia at the Holiday Inn? They're doing it under the fake sun. That's not the same sun that's rising in alignment to me while they're 3 hours ahead of us. That's not the same sun. There's only one sun. And I'm documenting the one sun remaining over me for the duration of the day. A lot of that documentation has exposed the malice of the population that's gang stalking. That's what OVITT Family Community Library provides a study for. Regarding mental illness, that's what the OVITT Family Community Library provides a study for. Regarding the necessity of policies to surround a gang stalking population, that's what the OVITT Family Community Library is relevant for. And yes, they are being prosecuted, but it is under no circumstances, neither is that even logical. That's nonsensical. It's not limited to Ontario. It's not just Michael Lorenz that's going to get it in federal court. It's far beyond that, and my documentation also proves that. Kern County, Los Angeles County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County, Orange County, San Diego County. Okay, the entities engaged in this in Vegas, not Las Vegas, Nevada. This is the entity that's engaged in, and that's a pattern of conduct showing how it is state to state, and it is not limited to what is just the places where I'm documenting. Okay, what is over them, like I stated, in San Luis Obispo? What's over them in Minnesota? Okay, this is exposing what is a nationwide system. In other words, so I just wanted to document that, and also I want to refer to the act of harassment that you witnessed by the OMNITRANS operator. He's engaging in what is making an abrupt stop with regard to monitoring me, and it's also an act of hostility by a demon. And then they sit there chit-chatting back and forth about, oh, I thought you were, oh yeah, man. There's no bus stop there. It was an act of passive-aggressive act of violence, hoping to try to trip me up, hurt me while I'm documenting the P.O.C. That's what you witnessed there. It's 11:35 a.m. This is P.O.C. License 66777W3. Molestation, sexual assault, and battery with impossible light, and employee number 3875. This is a male with dark facial hair, melanated skin color, could be African American, could be Middle Eastern, I'm not quite sure. Sharing in what is sexual assault and battery, targeting with impossible light, and the fake sun, which is speaking to nothing other than the direct evidence that they're targeting. And they're doing so in conformity to the pattern of conduct. These are demons that are threatening my life while that conspiracy to murder is occurring from Ontario into the city of Fontana, on the roads and the highways, replete with the fake sun and the terrorists that are targeting me with impossible light, just like you see them doing at the bus stop, while they're stalking with impossible light, just like you see them doing at the intersection of, for example, Lemon Avenue and D Street while they're driving by downtown Ontario luxury apartments. They're stalking. It's surveillance. It's not traffic. And they're stalking while impossible light's moving across and touching my person. An impossible occurrence. It's also impossible while I'm on the bus and you're on the street and this isn't even the sun and you're on the opposite side of the bus where that sun is located as well. And they're stalking, molesting my body, my breasts, my face, my upper part of my body with impossible light. This is a sex offense that OMNITRANS is going to be prosecuted for. The sex offender operating this bus, trying to harm me while I'm documenting, and also the people of the state that are sharing in that perpetual sex offense which precedes murder committed as an entity. This is P.O.C. We're currently on San Bernardino Avenue and San Bernardino Avenue and Poplar, P.O.C. This is 11:55 a.m. Alrighty, it's currently 11:57 a.m. License plate 7YFW171. And the entity is licensed 4WKU804 74364U3, excuse me, 4J3. And this is Fontana EH18N33 paper. And the demon that's operating the bus is pounding on the brakes with regard to well, it's activity creation actually, but it's with regard to what this slamming on the brakes is violent, while I'm subject to this pattern of conduct, also being accosted with light activity, especially while I'm documenting this psychopath. But it's San Bernardino Avenue and Oleander where the fake sun is underway, and his abuse with the pounding on the brakes is his method of harassment and violence. 8KLG288 P.O.C. The demons are molesting with impossible light, and that is him as well. This is also the city of Fontana that's keeping me under surveillance. City of Fontana is very thoroughly documented already, conspiring my murder, gang stalking, while the Ontario police are at the Ontario Town Square exhibiting mental illness and admitting that they're stalking. The entity has the fake sun over the Fontana Police Department. This is on the record. They've been targeting me for years. So this is the pattern of conduct that I'm subject to while the entities, and this is what he represents as the entity. Pounding on the brakes, my property falls over. It's moving, like I can't even sit in the seat. Like that's how hard you're pounding on the brakes. This is a demon, okay? And this is a hostile demon. It's currently 11:59 a.m. P.O.C. it's not over Bethel congregation. Like I'm documenting as I'm exiting that venue and en route to that venue at 10:59 in the morning, at 12:36, or 12:30, 12:35, 12:45 when I'm typically exiting on Sunday, and I walk to the OVITT Family Community Library where the fake sun is over at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The entity is engaging in what is monitoring evidence. You already know that a fake sun is remaining the entire time. That's why I'm capturing it on video on Jennifer and San Bernardino Avenue, where no covering up of a fake sun, where psychopaths are engaging in that conduct, and those same psychopaths who are demons in a demonic environment that rapidly changes based on your exposing it. But it's not changing a federal prosecution. P.O.C. And this is violence that this driver is engaging in. Slamming on the brakes with regard to damaging my property, with regard to my body throwing it. I mean, I'm not talking about just when I'm standing up documenting. I'm also talking about while I'm sitting in my seat. Okay, this is the entity that's doing so under a fake sun, and covering it up is not helping Aquanetta Warren. It's not deviating from the evidence that's already on the record about the city of Fontana targeting. This is the evidence of surveillance of documentation, surveillance on communication devices. It's the unintelligent likely and gargoyles that don't have any other means of avoiding what is exposure and avoiding exposure. You can see the fake sun in the beginning of this video, and it rapidly disappears. This is supposed to be a sun that's over the OVITT Family Community Library, where I'm going every day. But you already know that this is the pattern of conduct, because what is a sunny day ever going to be when the entity is keeping it over me on Euclid Avenue? Okay, this is the acid entity of stalking with the fake sun in the first place. The demon-possessed are being deported. The demon-possessed are going to be prosecuted as terrorists. The demon-possessed are going to be removed from positions of government. The demon-possessed are going to be identified as appropriately as they are. This is the Nephilim engaging in this state surveillance system. This is P.O.C. This is Sierra and I believe Marigold. Sierra Avenue and Marigold, yeah. Where the entity's keeping this fake sun is currently 12:02 p.m. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is the Fontana Metrolink train station. It's 12:12 p.m. This is the city of Fontana, and I have documented the maintenance of the fake sun over me as the person that's being targeted by the government, and proving that is further underscored with a whole specific environment that is a scientific impossibility, such as my documentation that's already on the record, where the sun is over me at this address in the city of Fontana at 5 p.m. after 6 p.m. The entity keeping the fake sun over me while I'm also remaining in the city of Ontario, that's speaking to what is a scientific impossibility. The fact that it's remaining over me for the duration of the bus ride is a scientific impossibility. This is the pattern of conduct. The entity is maintaining this light source for the duration of this ride, and this is the entity that is in maintaining what you saw in the previous video, the fake sun rapidly covered up by clouds. It's not the weather. This is demonic. All right, this is the P.O.C. This is Orange Way and Series, where I'm here in the morning at this intersection documenting the demons who are stalking with impossible light. And this is the evidence of what is OMNITRANS targeting. This is the evidence of what is the city of Fontana, the state of California, as the cities are targeting from ceaselessly from city to city. All right, that's P.O.C. All right, this third party, he's actually a state actor. OMNITRANS is a state actor, very reckless, and engaged in what is harassment with regard to monitoring and hostility. And that's relevant to that pattern of conduct as well. It's 12:13 p.m. This is P.O.C. I'm going to show you the fake sun as I get off of the bus. The entity had the fake sun over me at the bus stop at the at the Empire Place Apartments at Vine and HOLT Boulevard. The entity kept that fake sun over that apartment building while one bus after another crossed path, engaging what is targeting with the city of Ontario by helicopter, by police vehicle, by ambulance. That fake sun remaining over me and not moving through the windows of the bus, any of those buses. The entity, as soon as I get on the bus, this is where the light source is moving, speaking to targeting by the entity using helicopters, using airplanes, using the people of the state that are stalking, targeting with impossible light while they're driving in the street. And they would also at the same time, they're not going to, they can't, be in court and like to establish that they're private citizens minding their business. When you're engaging in that and you're shooting light toward me, that's an intentional act. It's supernatural. It doesn't even have anything to do with the fake sun. They engage in it when there are no vehicles whatsoever even driving by me. I've captured that method of targeting, the identification of those that are engaging in what is monitoring. Monitoring is occurring in furtherance of murder by the government, and the people of the state are in the shoes of the state. All right, this is P.O.C. It's the Fontana MetroLink train station. It's 12:15 p.m. Fontana PD, that's prison. 1644941. There's the fake sun. This is the same chicanery of the Ontario police. They're conspiring your murder while they're stalking. You're not just stalking, you're conspiring murder, and you're facilitating that conspiracy, okay? You have familiar state actors that like to engage in exposing the fact that Bezos is a terrorist. Well, there's Amazon Prime right there. You have the demons engaging in that together. Gang violence by Amazon is very heavily documented. They're demons that molest with impossible light. They are, in fact, demons. And they engage in surveillance, conspiring murder with the gang stalking law enforcement agencies that are engaging in criminal surveillance, okay? This is P.O.C. And the entities engaging in that while they are monitoring with public transportation. This is how this system is operating. They go to prison gang stalking with the police. They go to prison gang stalking with the police, and they listen to me point that out, and that's why you're making decisions to go to prison, though. That's however, this is how this evidence is going to be used against them. The people of the state are going to federal prison for gang stalking with the police as well. 159-7069. This is the mentally ill, okay? Feces eaters, it's not just Ontario. That's how I can go to any city and show you the exact same pattern of conduct. The sun is still here in the evening at Sierra and Orange Way. The body of evidence showing that the Fontana Police Department, that Aquanetta Warren, been engaging in what is keeping my genitalia under surveillance, targeting and furtherance of murder, engaging what is gang stalking, calling for martial law, okay? This is the entity that's engaged in that pattern of conduct. The lawlessness is shared. Look at Coca-Cola. That's a demon. That's not sunlight. And moreover, it's not when the sun's remaining over the OVITT Family Community Library, and that's how you know that the Fontana police are monitoring me in furtherance of murder. And gang stalking police officers are going to prison. P.O.C. All right, this is the entity engaging in targeting. The same pattern of conduct. All right, license 9MGE681. License EJ27 Kelly 47. Paper. The video you just listened to is video evidence of the city of Fontana confirming, not that you need it, the demons don't have to say a word, you document the specific environment. This is how the federal government can investigate any and everyone regarding the corruption of the states that are engaging in conspiring against American citizens, terrorizing them. They don't have to say a word, but they speak volumes while the police engage in stalking, while the companies engage in stalking, okay? So the entity engages in this at the intersection of Ceres and Sierra Avenue, and you're going to run the tape back. What was I talking about moments earlier in this podcast? I was talking about how Amazon targeting me with the Los Angeles police, OMNITRANS targeting me with Pomona police, Fontana police, Ontario police. They don't like that, and because they're demons, so it's very highly unintelligent. And I'm speaking unintelligent in terms of because I know what's going to happen in a courtroom, okay? I understand how this is going to be used. It's evidence, and I understand what the entity license plate 6NFC318 is going to be prosecuted for. Stalking with impossible light, proving that the city is targeting you, and then the city is targeting you to murder you, conspiring your murder. And that city is full of terrorists calling for what is martial law. The entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct, and they're doing so with Amazon, OMNITRANS, that demon operating that bus engaging in what is a passive-aggressive means of a battery, okay, pounding on the brakes to where I can't even stay in my seat. And while I'm capturing video, you're witnessing that. He's stopping. There's not even a bus stop there, and he does so with regard to monitoring me. He does so with simultaneity to my getting up to document. So that's the reason why he's actually doing it, and he does it under the guy, oh, I'm letting somebody in but there's no bus stop there, Satan. Anyway, this is somebody that's engaged in violence that whole time. He keeps pounding on the brakes with regard to tossing me around, and also my property falling repeatedly on the ground. 37542D4. And as I'm referring to the entity, this is what I said before. So Satan could be as mad. Doesn't matter. They're psychopaths. They eat their feces. Okay? It's like being mad because you don't eat your feces, so they're mad at you because they eat their feces and you don't. Who cares, okay? So the entity's engaging in, who's going to go back and forth with that? So the entity's engaging in the pattern of conduct while they're listening to me expose what I said years ago. You're stalking with the police, you're going to prison with them. It's not a game. So the entity's engaging in that, and guess who engages in that pattern? The terrorists themselves, and that's fine, because that's the evidence that I already have on the record. They're going to prison. We've already proven that the entity is stalking. Not a reasonable question when you're stalking me day and night in helicopters and making up information and lying just to harass me, just to be in my face, and I'm putting it on the internet. Those are demons that don't have a strategy. Okay? They're focused on what is failed witchcraft. There's no voodoo hoodoo over here that's working. You're going to prison and I'm documenting the evidence of you targeting. There's no mystery. There's no delusion. There's no imagining anything. You're imagining that anything but that is happening, and you're imagining that because you're a psychopath. You're delusional. So the entity, while they engage in that, they're providing the evidence supporting the very policies that I've stated. The police are stalking in furtherance of murdering to take your life and then control that narrative, such as turning on their sirens so they can run you over when they wait for you to get into the middle of the street. You're going to federal prison for stalking with the police. You're conspiring and acting in furtherance of murdering that American citizen. And as a population shares in that, the gang stalkers themselves, the domestic enemies, this is calling for martial law. Okay? 8FWK999. 7MYP508. And I was out here already in Fontana during daylight savings time. And I'm just referring to 2025. Fontana has been targeting me for years. This is nothing new. I won't say it. They are unwise to engage in conspicuous stalking today. I'll just put it that way. 8 Apple Uncle David 557. 9 George Charlie Yolanda 064. 9 R Jerry Xavier 289. Remember, daylight savings time is just giving and taking away an hour. It's not going to reconcile what's remaining in Ontario, 6 POU 853, and what's also remaining over me here as I juxtapose it with remaining in the same city, remaining on the same street. And that fake sun is over me while the Fontana Police Department are openly, conspicuously stalking. That's an act of terrorism, and you're going to prison for it. So you're operating under an illusion that nobody sees you. Everyone sees you. And so now when you're proven as stalking, so you think that you're going to stalk American citizens because that's what you're doing. There's no controversy here. And you're going to do so in a police vehicle. You think that you're not protected by that. You're exposed. You're incriminated by that. It's enhanced because of that fact. And you're going to prison. This is exactly how they psychologically torture, harass, threaten, etc. American citizens. License 9PWR058. So the entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct, and they're doing so in a specific environment, proving exactly, it's even down to the environment that shows you exactly who's being targeted, because there is no natural environment that would ever have the sun over the entrance of the library and at the same time over me in Fontana. And not only is it over me in Fontana, it stays over me in Fontana. If I stay in Fontana, guess where the fake sun is setting the next day? In Fontana. The entity is maintaining the pattern of conduct, and it's the evidence of the inconsistency of the environment that surrounds. That's combined with the entity that is targeting through its behavioral pattern. It's the P.O.C. All right, and the P.O.C., again, what I've shown from the beginning, it is a prosecution of the U.S. government, and what this evidence is speaking inevitably to, this is the type of thing that you don't speak to until you get to this juncture of evidence, and I have well exceeded that. So I'm not excited to announce that, but that's the reality. Where the evidence is at the P.O.C., I have gone over and above with regard to proving it. This is calling for martial law. It's an unprecedented basis of martial law, and it is absolutely necessary. It's absolutely necessary. All right, this is P.O.C. 6UKW943. These are things that, again, you have to prosecute with what you can prove, not what you know. So I've known this. I've been aware of this, but I'm not going to speak on it with regard to exposing information and stating things publicly unless you have the evidence to prove it, and I have well beyond that. And this has been a call for martial law for years. The entity's been engaged in years of obstruction of justice. Okay? But with regard to publishing all of my evidence and letting you know and showing you, you can look at it with your own eyes. The demons are the ones that play with illusions, and those same illusions are going to have them locked up in mental facilities. License 88QE591-9375 Apple 9. That's a Nevada plate with minor children. Gang stalking. The entities engaging in this pattern of conduct, and they're doing so while I have been aware, but again, reserving the conclusions until you can see it, then I'm not going to speak on it. Everyone can see it now, and you need to understand where are you going with that. So what's the solution? Yes, it is a prosecution, and yes, it is martial law. Okay, it's absolutely martial law. It is currently 12:29 p.m. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, I'm going to document what is the pattern of conduct. It's 12:30 p.m. The entity that's gang stalking you, engaging in what is communicating a threat, conspicuously stalking at the facilitating venue. Fontana Lewis Library. The fake sun is no longer over the Fontana Metrolink train station. It's no longer through the window of any bus. It's over me at the Fontana Lewis Library at 12:31 p.m., which would be 1:31 p.m. during daylight savings time. Be mindful of that while I'm going to document gang stalking by the Fontana Police Department. This is a basis, by the way, for what is not only federal prison, but the martial law, which is going to affect terrorist organizations masquerading as police departments. Remember, the Fontana Police has the fake sun over me at 9:30 in the morning, and this is 12:31, which is 1:31 during daylight savings time when I capture that. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is the malicious pattern of conduct, surveillance with the people. The people are threatening together. Don't focus on just the police that are going to prison. So are the people of the state. 8ZSJ712. This is the pattern of conduct. The fake sun is over me. It's going to move as I move it. It's no longer over the Metrolink train station, and that's how you know that they're stalking. License 7LKH536. You also know that they're stalking. There's no sun in Ontario while the fake sun moves over me from city to city. This is pacing as they go in opposite direction as engineer lights on the ground. That's a demon stalking with the police. 9JXM729. Specifically, it's monitored because that's not the product of sunlight. Okay? License 1712761. Aquanetta warrants being removed from office. This is public corruption occurring on Hawaii. This is mental illness while they're stalking somebody else, maintaining a conversation, keeping their back to you like you're the last person that they're concerned with, and the environment is speaking directly opposite of that. The fake sun is present in the same environment at 5 o'clock in the evening. I'm documenting that. The entity terrorized me by helicopter by the same agency upon my exit of this library. Just like they do with the Overstown Community Library under a fake sun in the evening at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. That's on the record. I'll share that. This is the entity that's doing that, and this is federal prison for gang stalking police officers. They don't have to say a word, but if they do, that's also more time. 1712761, engaging what is harassment with the Fontana Police Department on several occasions, engaging what is targeting with Stephanie Ortiz, I believe her name. She's going to prison. There is no statute of limitations. That demon's going to prison. 1712761, this is the fake sun at 12:33 p.m. The fake sun still stays here, as I've already documented, during daylight savings time. The gang stalking security guards. The fake sun, don't forget, it's here over me at 9:59 in the morning when I'm already here. I documented coming later, and the fake sun follows at a later time. This is the terrorist organization, Fontana Police, same pattern of conduct, gang stalking companies, engaging what is surveillance with the gang stalkers themselves. This is gang leaders. This is putting Mike Lorenz in prison. D. Rodriguez, federal prison. J. Chu. Rodriguez at Starbucks, criminal summoning, federal prison. The agencies sharing in the pattern of conduct. Okay, Ontario police are being disbanded for kidnapping. You're not removed from being disbanded from the ongoing.
Everybody over at my side of the house is, how come we're not?
All right, that would be 1:30 during daylight savings time.
The only thing that I can think of is years ago.
They're engaged in vagina monitoring. And so vagina monitoring likely involves bearing guns. They're going to be removed from law enforcement. This is exposing state surveillance because this is also not in Florida, and it's also not in Ontario. These are demons. See the engineer live? This is all you're paying attention to. It's the pattern of conduct. They're pacing back and forth from vehicle to vehicle. All right, and they're here monitoring. They're not the actual. This malice was behind murder. I'm here before opening at the Lewis Library. The Fontana police are engaged in surveillance, and they've engaged in that routinely with helicopters targeting me, so they can look whatever direction they want. They're waiting for what is martial law that's going to be dealing with the city of Fontana gang stalking as well. This is P.O.C. This is where it's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Even stalking going. On behalf of the gang stalkers themselves, the gang stalkers are vicariously monitoring. I just want to show you how it's moving from the parking lot to the entrance. The fake sun escorting me into the entrance. And this is what's happening at 9:59 in the morning during daylight savings time. All right, when it's present for the sun, daylight savings coming up. The Fontana police are working with vagina monitoring lights like Arco, not different. They just call themselves Fontana Police. P.O.C. Fontana Police Library, gang stop, federal stop inside of the video of this is San Bernardino County as well. P.O.C. Into a building, okay, you're seeing the sun out there, and you get the sun right here. Sun, contrary to what you are not paying attention to, does not result in the sun shooting through like the glass and creating a sheet of the glass on the inside of the building. The sun is outside, the downward trajectory of light is speaking to what is impossible light that's surrounding. But this is impossible light activity also based on its presence coming behind on the inside. The fake sun is right on the opposite side of the Fontana Lewis Library is gang stalking me at the entrance to the communicative thread, and that thread is noted. City of Fontana, that thread is noted. Okay? That thread is a federal offense relevant to sentencing, relevant to treatment regarding martial law as well. This is impossible light activity, and I'll show you there's multiple shadows. This is not sunlight, and it is also impossible with the placement of the sun, as you can literally look at it with your eyes and break down what is an illusion and if it's an unintelligent illusion. This is also impossible with regard to your knowledge that you will be keeping the fake sun in Ontario at the OVITT Family Community Library. None of this is going to result. The sun that's outside is not creating any of this. Okay? And even with the sun in this position, sunlight's not going to appear inside of the building. Okay? I've shown you this with regard to that. Then you have is sitting around. P.O.C. This is the absence of any coincidence either. All right. Mike LORENZ is going to prison while the city of Fontana shares that pattern of conduct. This is the entity that committed kidnapping while they're getting stalking like the city of Fontana is. And the city of Fontana's criminal engagement in the pattern of conduct under things like a fake son, mutually exclusive to anywhere on here, certainly not over the Overtown Community Library, or over Bethel Congregation, all right, or over anywhere on People Avenue. This is supposedly somebody. But we all know that this is not a product of some house. Yeah, he's going to prison. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, I am capturing video, substantial video. The fake son goes from the entrance, showing that the Fontana police are just cockroaches, gargoyles that dress up in police uniforms to deceive everybody. You're not deceived anymore. You're certainly not deceived by any fake son. In fact, that's where the Nephilim stand out, okay? And it's not forgotten when they cover up the fake son for a few days, as though, again, you're a simpleton, you're a delusional psychopath like them. They're always projecting their ignorance onto you. And you are not ignorant. That's why I've documented the P.O.C. for you to pay attention to what you've always seen. You just weren't paying attention to it. You weren't paying attention to it. It's right in front of your face. And what's also going to be in front of your face is how martial law is going to be implemented in order to shut down terrorists like the Fontana Police Department, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, and also the Ontario Police Department. It's not just limited there. But these are the demons that are engaged in that. The heavy stalking by helicopter this morning. It's not even 1 o'clock yet. It's 12:43 in the afternoon. All right? That's the entity that's conspiring my murder and has been targeting me for years. And the kidnapping by the city of Ontario, that's mandatory disbanding. Not only are they being prosecuted, not only is martial law coming, the city of Ontario is not going to have a police department. It's over. And Mike LORENZ is going to prison. This is not going to end successfully for him. He's not an intellectual or reasonable being. He's a demon. He's not a man. He's a demon. So this is why he's engaging in obvious criminal conduct. That's to his own demise. P.O.C. It's 12:43 at the Fontana